for a minute about 5 things that you can be doing in your law practice to help minimize the likelihood of having an ethics complaint or malpractice claim made against you. The first is really simple. Make sure you're communicating with your clients. Lack of communication is a huge problem for lawyers, particularly with attorney discipline, because attorney discipline has different standards than legal malpractice, and the failure to communicate with a client may not rise to the level of malpractice and a civil suit with damages, but it can still be enough to face attorney discipline, including suspension from the practice of law. So put systems in place to make sure that you're keeping up with your clients. Even when their cases are dormant, you should at least have a quick email now and then. Hey, just wanted to let you know, don't have anything important to report, but I'm thinking of you, I'm keeping an eye on your case, I'll let you know. It goes a long way. A second tip is network. Make sure you know other lawyers in your community and you have places to turn and people to trust when you need help or have questions. And number 3, put some infrastructure in place in your firm. Even if you're a true solo, you should have it mapped out what kind of jobs are done here. It's okay that you do them all, because hopefully at some point you won't. But it helps you organize your thoughts and your work to know that, oh, there's a billing function done here at my firm. There's the legal function of the actual work being performed. There's an administrative function where mail is opened, sorted, filed, attended to, be assigned to someone to take care of. Even if it's all you, that's still a separate function. If you put some infrastructure in place, it'll also help with tip number 4, which is to put a routine in place. Routines are really important to the successful running of any law practice. When mail comes in, what happens to it? Does it get opened right away? Does it get placed in a specific bin, on a specific desk? When it is opened, how is it processed? How are tasks delegated once they're triggered, whether that's by a piece of physical mail or a piece of email? What about when a call comes in? All of these things should be routinized and they should be written down. You should know exactly what happens within the firm at every turn. The other thing about having a routine and some infrastructure, those 2 things come together to make it easier to delegate when it's time to have more help in your firm. So even if you're doing it all right now, when it is time to get someone else on board, it's much easier to do that if you can say to them, well, here's a role I need you to take on, and these are the routines that go with that role. And finally, my 5th tip for keeping your practice on track is to plan ahead, including what to do when you're not going to practice anymore. So you should have some plans as to what's going to go on in the next few years, depending upon how long you're practicing, whether that's your 1-year plan, your 5-year plan, even your 10-year plan. You should have some sense of what's going to happen next and where you want to steer your ship. Because if you don't, you just kind of keep going along, and first of all, it's not nearly as satisfying. It's also not nearly as organized, and you're more likely to have problems. The plan should also include what you're going to do when you're not practicing anymore. So I'm not saying pick your beach to go have your tiki drink, your tiki hut, and your umbrella drink on, but you should know what's going to happen with your practice. Are you going to simply wind it down and shut the doors? Are you going to bring in an associate in your last few years of practice to train them and hand the firm to them? Are you going to sell your practice to a larger firm? How do you want to handle this? And it's important to have a plan in place because that will help a lot when the time comes and make it a lot less stressful when you decide to retire.